Hello students, I am Nidhi Markade. Today we are going to start new chapter in chemistry, chapter number 4, carbon and its compounds. So, in this chapter we'll study about some important and more interesting compounds and their properties. Also, we shall be learning about carbon, an element which is of the immense significance to us in both its elemental form and its combined form. So, let us start the chapter. Let us discuss initially activity 4.1. Make a list of 10 things you have used or consumed since the morning. Complete the list with the list made by your classmates and then sort the items into the adjacent table. If there are items which are made up of more than one material, put them into both the relevant columns of the table. So let us start. We can say that from the very early morning, we use like fan. Fan is made up of metal, iron, aluminium, etc. Then we use a toothbrush, like it is made up of plastic or nylon. Uh, then spoon, it is of stainless steel. Then clothes made up of cotton. Pencil made up of wood, graphite. Then pen, books. Books are made up of paper obtained from wood. Then bread, chapatis, etc. Also made up of wheat. So, in this particular list, we can say that most of them are belong to compounds of carbons, made up of carbon. So, food, clothes, medicines, books, or many of the things that we listed are all based on this versatile element carbon. In addition, all living structures are carbon based. The amount of carbon present in the Earth's crust and in the atmosphere is quite small. The Earth's crust has only 0.02% of carbon in the form of minerals like carbonates, hydrogen carbonates, coal, petroleum, etc. And the atmosphere has 0.03% of carbon dioxide. In spite of this small amount of carbon available in nature, the importance of carbon seems to be immense. In this chapter, we will know about the properties of carbon which makes the carbon so important to us. Now let us discuss bonding in carbon compounds. First, covalent bond. In the previous chapter, we have studied the properties of ionic compounds. We saw that ionic compounds have high melting and boiling points, that is electrovalent compound, and conduct electricity in solution or in the molten state. We also saw how the nature of bonding in ionic compounds explain these properties. Let us now study the properties of some carbon compounds. Most carbon compounds are poor conductors of electricity, as we have seen in chapter 2. Now, let us discuss this table in which melting points and boiling points of some compounds of carbon are given. Here, on the boiling point and melting points of the carbon compounds, we find that these compounds have low melting and boiling points as compared to the ionic compounds. That is from chapter number 3, metals. We can conclude that the forces of attraction between the molecules are not very strong, since these compounds are largely non conductors of electricity. We can conclude that the bonding in these compounds do not give rise to any ions. In class 9th, we learn about the combining capacity of various elements and how it depends on the number of valence electrons, the last orbit electrons. Let us now look at the electronic configuration of carbon. The atomic number of carbon is 6. So we can say it's in its first shell it will have 2 electrons and its second shell it will be 4 electrons. So we know that the reactivity of elements is explained as their tendency to attain a completely filled outer shell, that is attain noble gas configuration. Elements forming ionic compounds achieve this by either gaining or losing electrons from the outermost shell. That is, gaining electrons, that means they are non-metals, and losing electrons, it means they are metals. But in case of carbon, it has 4 electrons in its outermost shell and needs to gain or lose 4 electrons to attain noble gas configuration, that is completely filled shell. So if it were to gain or lose electrons, there are two conditions. It could gain 4 electrons forming C4 plus anion, but it would be difficult for the nucleus with 6 protons to hold on to 10 electrons, that is 4 extra electrons. The second major point, it could lose 4 electrons forming C4 plus cation, but it would require a large amount of energy to remove 4 electrons, leaving behind a carbon cation with 6 protons in its nucleus, holding on to just 2 electrons. So, both the conditions are fail in case of carbon. Carbon overcomes this problem by sharing its valence electrons with other atoms of carbon or with atoms of other elements. Not just carbon, but many other elements form molecules by sharing electrons in this manner. The shared electrons belong to the outermost shells of both the atoms and lead to both atoms attaining the noble gas configuration. Before going on to compounds of carbon, let us look at some molecules formed by the sharing of valence electrons. Now, let us discuss the covalent bond in case of hydrogen. The simplest molecule formed in this manner is that of hydrogen. As you have learned earlier, the atomic number of hydrogen is 1. In last year we have discussed. Hence, hydrogen has 1 electron in its K shell and it requires 1 more electron to fill the K shell, because we know that to complete the octet, K shell needs 2 electrons at least. So, 2 hydrogen atoms share their electrons to form a molecule of hydrogen, that is H2. This allows each hydrogen atom to attain the electronic configuration of the nearest noble gas, helium, which has 2 electrons in its K shell and it is chemically neutral. We can depict this using dots or crosses to represent valence electrons. So, according to the diagram, we can observe this. The shared pair of electrons is said to constitute a single covalent bond between the 2 hydrogen atoms. A single covalent bond is also represented by a line between the 2 atoms, as shown in the figure. Now let us discuss about double and triple bond for oxygen and nitrogen. In case of oxygen, we see the formation of a double bond between 2 oxygen atoms. This is because an atom of oxygen has 6 electrons in its L shell. In K shell, there are 2 electrons, and in L shell, there are 6 electrons because the atomic number of oxygen is 8. So, it requires 2 more electrons to complete its octet. So, each atom of oxygen shares 2 electrons with another atom of oxygen to give us the structure shown in the figure. The 2 electrons contributed by each oxygen atom give rise to 2 shared pairs of electrons. So, this is said to constitute a double bond between the 2 atoms, according to the diagram. Now, what would happen in case of diatomic molecules of nitrogen? Or because nitrogen has 7 electrons total, the atomic number of nitrogen is 7. So, let us discuss about the triple bond in nitrogen. Here, in order to attain an octet, each nitrogen atom in a molecule of the nitrogen contributes 3 electrons, giving rise to 3 shared pairs of electrons. This is said to constitute a triple bond between the 2 atoms. The electron dot structure of N2 and its triple bond can be represented by the given figure. Now, a molecule of ammonia has the formula NH3, we know that. So, we can also draw the electron dot structure for such kind of molecule, showing all the 4 atoms achieve noble gas configuration. Now, let us now take a look at methane. Here, which is a compound of carbon. Methane is widely used as a fuel and is a major component of biogas and compressed natural gas CNG. It is also one of the simplest compounds formed by carbon. Methane has formula CH4. Here hydrogen, as we know, has a valency of 1 and carbon is tetravalent because it has 4 valence electrons. So in order to achieve noble gas configuration, carbon shares these electrons with 4 atoms of hydrogen. Just like NH3, nitrogen shares with 3 atoms of hydrogen. So such bonds which are formed by sharing of an electron pair between 2 atoms are known as covalent bonds. Covalently bonded molecules are seen to have strong bonds within the molecule, not like the electrovalent bond, but intermolecular forces are weak. This gives rise to the low melting and boiling points of these compounds that we will discuss later on. Since the electrons are shared between atoms and no charged particles are formed, such covalent compounds are generally poor conductors of electricity. So students, I hope you understood the initial part of this chapter. Thank you for listening this video.